Hello, my name is Tinne from Victoria Designs, and if you're a fan of botanical themed crafting printables, you are going to love this kit, the vintage Botanical kit. When you see these printables, it feels like looking into a botanist's vintage notebook. And with these printables, I created quite a project. 12 small journals, one for each month of the year, and a slipcase to hold them together. Let me show you what this year-long journal set looks like. So we have a sleeve, and in that sleeve are 12 small journals. And each journal has a label that acts as a pull, and also with the month of the year on. And if you would love these labels as well, together with all the measurements to make this, you can opt in via the link in the description for the PDF. This can fit really nicely into your bookcase. And let me show you one of the journals. These are actually very simple journals, so they're not hard to make at all. You just need very sturdy cardstock to start with. And there's a pocket in the front and in the back. And in between there are 32 journal pages. And with the journal pages that we provide, some of them are completely filled. They're already very beautiful. And some of them are mostly empty, but with very, very beautiful details. So even if you only write in this and don't add stamps and don't add extras, which you can do, of course, it will already look super beautiful. And of course you can add all those pretties and stickers and stamps, etc. and drawings and glue envelopes in these. You can do whatever you want, but if you only write, it's still super beautiful. So here's just one of the journals. Beautiful journal pages. There. And you can take one of these easily into your bag without having to take all this with you as well. The slipcase is of course not mandatory to make at all. You can just make one of these little journals. You can also, for example, only make 3 of these journals and adjust the slipcase to fit only these 3. Each journal will roughly have 1 page to journal on, and some days you might need 1 page for 2 days. Of course, you can use our other kits to make this project as well. The process will be the same, but the look will be completely different. And of course, you can use the printables from this beautiful vintage botanical kit to make many other craft projects. In this video, I will explain to you from A to Z how to create this whole project. The measurements will pop up on the screen, but if you would like a handy PDF that has all the measurements neatly in a row, you can opt in via the link in the description and get the download. And bonus, you will also get the free month labels that I will be using in this tutorial. For more information about this beautiful kit, I will direct you to my Etsy shop, the link is below as well. And now let's start crafting. To make one of these 1-month journals, I have here a piece of 300 grams cardstock. I'm using this one. Some cardstock, even though it's 300 grams, can still be quite flimsy, so check really if it's sturdy. This one is. I have here 8 sheets with journal pages printed on both sides, which means in the end I will have 32 like little pages. These were printed on 120 grams paper. I think 160 is a little bit thick. Of course, you can also print on lighter paper and then you can fit more into this little booklet. I'm going to fold them in half because the sizes of the rest will depend on how large your journal pages are going to be. So this is going to be just one signature, which will be easy to sew in. Folding in half, bone folder to the 8. This bone folder really helps to get a better fold. And now I'm going to measure. Now, as you see, because I'm folding a thick stack of pages, the center pages are going to be sticking out a little bit. Now, you can opt to cut them off, but I'm not going to do that since there are so many details on these edges that I want to leave it like it is. And I don't really mind that. Okay, and now I'm going to measure from that fold to the page here that sticks out the furthest. So, and for me that is almost 5 1/4 inch. I'm going to keep that as my measurement. And I'm going to add 1/8 inch to that, because this still needs to be sewn in. It's going to shift a tiny little bit more so that the pages won't stick out of the notebook. So for yourself as well, print out the journal pages, cut out if you need to, fold in half and measure and add 1/8 inch or 3 mm. So journal pages fold in half, take the width plus an 1/8 inch or 3 mm. Double this size, because we need a front and a back, and add 3/16 inch. That's how wide I want my spine to be. This is going to be the spine. You can make your spine less wide, like an 1/8 inch. That's okay if you print your journal pages on thinner paper, for example. You can also make your spine 1/4 inch, but for me it felt like there was too much room there. I tried that out. So I'm gonna go with the very, very irritating 3/16 inch size. Yeah, it just worked the best for me. You can choose for yourself. So in my case, that was 5 1/4 inch plus an 8. I'm gonna double that, which means 10 3/4 inch. And I'm gonna add 3/16 for my spine. So for me, that's 10 inch and 15/16 inch. So almost 11 inch. And the height, I took the same height as my journal pages, which is 8 inch for me. Check your own measurements. So this is how large the cover is, exactly the sizes that I just measured. And now I'm going to score. So your journal pages plus an 1/8 inch or 3 mm. And for me, that was 5 3/8 inch. I'm going to score. And now, of course, my scoring lines are not each 1/16 inch. So I'm just going to turn around and I'm again going to score at 5 3/8 inch. And this will be the perfect spine for me. I'm gonna fold this. The other side as well. It can be a little bit tricky since it's such sturdy paper and the score lines are so close to each other, but it's definitely doable. There you go. And here I have my little cover, nice and sturdy, with a 3/16 inch spine. So let me check. These pages should fit in here nicely. It has a bit of room left, for sure, but I'm going to add some pockets on the inside as well. And if I would add some pockets and things and more to the pages of my journal, I would need the extra space. That's why I made it a little bit wider than I would actually do. If you don't plan on adding too much in your journal, you can get away with an 8-inch spine here. Okay, I'm gonna put this aside for a bit and focus on this cover. And I'm going to add 2 side pockets here, 2 the same ones. I already finished one here, and I'm going to show you how to make this one. So this one has the same height, so 8-inch as the cover, and it is 2 3/4 inch wide. Of course, if you want, you can vary with this. And I want to add a little notch here, so I am going to make a mark in the center so I can see where I need to put my punch. And use my notch punch right here. And you see I already did it with this second pocket, but I'm going to add some ink, totally optional, to the whole pocket here on the front and the whole cover, front and back. And I'm using vintage photo distress ink. Of course, you can use any ink that you like or just use no ink. Because keep in mind, you're making 3 or even 12 of these. And you need to repeat all the steps for all 12 of these journals. So if you think, I'm going to get sick of this after journal number 5, then it's better not to start doing this. Now, before I can add these pockets, I'm going to put some panels here, because these pockets are going to come on top of them. And of course, I don't need to panel the whole side because pockets are going to go over them. I just have here pieces that are 1/4 inch less high, and mine are also 3 inches wide, which means they will be covered enough by this pocket. I already inked the edges, just where you're going to see it, not of course the other side, and I'm just going to glue these in. You can use a strong glue stick or wet glue, tacky glue, etc. If you want it to last longer, take a stronger glue, of course. This. See, and I keep an 1/8 inch, 3 mm all around that fold, the top and the bottom. Same with the other one. And now I can add these pockets on top, so it's just a matter of putting some tape or glue along these 3 sides. Now, normally I use this narrow double-sided tape. It's 1/4 inch, 6 mm wide. But I also always say you can always use a bead of glue instead. So this time I'm going to show you that way. I have these upside down. So the beauty of using this art glitter glue is that you can really make a small bead of glue along the edge. It might be a bit messier because it's probably going to leak through the edges, but that's okay. It takes a little bit longer to hold so it can dry. And it's going to probably warp a little bit because of the water that's in there. But these are all things that you can overcome. It dries really well, it dries clear. Yeah, here some glue is leaking out, so I'm gonna get messy fingers, but not much. So I'm gonna hold it for a while and you see it warp a tiny little bit. So that's the good thing about the tape, you don't have that problem. But my solution is usually to put a heavy book on top just for a little while. Also going to attach this one. Yeah. Positive thing about using wet glue is that you can still shift a little bit when you're not completely in place. If you're using double-sided tape, it's like it's down, it's down. And sometimes it's down on the wrong spot. This is probably okay. This can dry for a bit. So, really loving this. It doesn't work on ribbon though. I tried, it doesn't. And I have these two pieces of paper to put on the side pockets. And of course, since I made a notch in here, I'm going to have to do the same thing with these. I already made the markings where the center is. You can do this with a circle punch as well, just punch half a circle. Or use an envelope punch board if you have one. These still need some inking. And now I only need to glue these on top. And of course the sizes are again 1/4 inch or 6 mm less high and wide than the pockets were. So if you made your pockets a little bit larger or smaller, you can do it like that. Mine are 2.5 by 7 3/4. And now let's give this booklet a very pretty cover here. I'm just going to put some panels on both of these sides. I have made these ones, and again I measured the base and I made these 1/4 inch or 6 mm less high and wide. There. And now let's sew these in there. So I'm just going to use a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, and I'm going to make sure that the threads are coming out here so I can put a label on that. And it can act as a pull to get these out of the box. So I'm going to start with the cover, put it upside down, then the holes on the outside will be prettier. Okay, I am going to line up this ruler in the center, height-wise, of this spine. At least I'm going to position it that way that when I make the holes, they will be in the center. Okay, and I'm going to poke 3 holes, of course, 1 in the center, and I'm choosing the other ones to be 1.5 inch from the top and the bottom. You can vary this if you like. There, and I'm going to also take my journal pages, make sure they're nice on top of each other. If you're not sure, clip them together. And since they are the same height, I can just give them the same holes measurement wise. So in the center and 1.5 inch from the top and the bottom. And then I have some embroidery thread. You can use other thread, of course. It's a bit thick, I think, for this. I could use it, but I'm going to be extra frugal here because this one has 6 threads and I'm just going to unwind it. And then I have 2 pairs of 3 threads instead. And that is for me still strong and thick enough to bind this, this signature. So you can just unwind them. Some embroidery threads have 4 threads, so if you split them in half, it could be a bit thin. But I have here now 3 threads and a needle. Okay, make sure that your pages are facing the right way, all of them, and they're facing the same way as your journal cover. Everything is positioned right, and I'm going to start in the top because I'm going to end there as well. So I'm going to start in the top hole here. Usually I start in the middle from the inside out, but now I'm starting from the outside in on the top because I want those tails of thread sticking out. Okay. And I'm going to leave a tail. I think this is about 7 inch. Let's check. Oh, it's actually 9 inch. Oh yeah, my thread is about 34 inches. And I'm leaving about 9 inches of a tail here. Okay, and then you can clip this with a clip to the rest of the book if you're not sure. Okay, so I went in and now I'm going to go back out through the center hole. There, and also through the center hole of my cover, back out. Make sure you still have that tail there. And then we're weaving. We're always weaving in, out, in, out. Now we're going down below through the bottom hole, back in, through the cover and also through the pages. There. And now I'm still weaving. I'm gonna go back out through the middle hole again, like this. And now I'm gonna go back in. Always make sure that your thread is doesn't have any loops. It doesn't have to be like super tight because that's not good as well. Just normal tight and not any loops. So I'm gonna go back in through the top hole. Of course, now I have a little problem because I have one thread on the outside and one on the inside. Well, I'm gonna go with my needle under this thread here, this piece here between the 2 holes. And I'm gonna make a knot, simple knot there. And now I'm gonna go back out to get my both threads on the outside, like this. There you go. And later on I can attach my label here. Let's close these pages and fold them, train them to both sides so this booklet will close in a good way. There you have it. At this moment in the process, I am making all the other booklets for the other months, and I noticed I didn't secure this thread as good as I actually would have liked. So I'm going to show you with another booklet that I made how to make the binding a bit more sturdy. And I hope you have these long threads here. I'm taking the longest one here, thread a needle, and I'm actually going to go back inside through the hole. And now I am going back to the center and I'm going under the second thread here and make a knot instead of, like this, instead of the first one. So another one extra just to be sure. Oops, I lost my needle, but it's okay. There, make sure it's nice and secure, not only here but definitely there. I recommend that. I definitely recommend that. So make your threads even longer if necessary, and when it's good and secure in the center, you can go back out like this. This is one of the sheets that you get for free when you opt in via the link in the description. You also get this in black and white. You can print it on any color paper that you like. And also there's a blank sheet without the names of the months. These are the labels that I'm going to attach to the thread on the spine. I'm going to cut these out and show you exactly how to do that. Oh yes, I already started cutting here. Okay, the idea is you can cut these out separately, but it's best to cut these out in one square first. I'm gonna show you. So I cut this out in one square, just like this. And before cutting them out, I am actually going to score the center line here, because these will be folded in half. Oops, I have it like this. Then they're all scored in one go. Then I'm going to fold this in half. So this way you have a sturdy label that has the name of the same month, of course, on both sides. And I'm going to take my glue paper and just simply put glue on one half, and very easy. Oops. Don't do this. Oh my god, I've been crafting all day and I think I got a bit, what's the name? Reckless. Yeah, don't do this. Be careful. Ugh. Okay, and now I'm just going to fold in half. There. And now I have folded them all at the same time. Let them dry, very important. Okay, and when these are dry, you can very easily just cut them out like this. Cut off these little corners, because these corners make them cute. And then you can ink the edges, etc. to finish them. Like this. And now you have a very pretty label. In this little brown square, you can punch a hole and attach this label to your spine. And what I did was I added an eyelet in here as well. When the glue is dry, these will become sturdier. Oh yes, I always forget, I printed this on 160 grams paper, so when folded in half and glued to each other, it will be sturdier, and even when the glue is dry, it will be sturdier still. You can always add some Mod Podge on top, and I added an eyelet here. Now, there are like a million ways to add this on here. You can always choose to have only one thread coming out. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna cut these so they're even. Okay, I'm going to put both threads on my needle here. And now I have here a bead. It's a drop bead and the hole goes from the top to the bottom. So you have drop beads that have a little hole in the top only, that's possible too, but mine goes through from the top to the bottom. I'm gonna go with my needle through the bead, through this eyelet and back up. So through this bead, and I checked that my needle can actually go through the bead, through this label, and now back bottom to top through this beautiful bead, this teardrop bead. Okay, it's going to look like this, and now I'm going to use one of the ones that I already did. Lay this on top to see how long that I want it to be. Of course, the first time that you do this, you can still choose. Yeah, I'm gonna make it about this long. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm going to measure again when I go back in with my needle. Okay. I'm going to measure again if this is the same length, about. Doesn't have to be super precise. Okay, this is a bit shorter than the one from December, so I'm gonna go pull here gently to make it a bit longer still. Yeah, that's good enough for me. And then make sure the threads don't move anymore. And now I'm just going to make 2 or 3 knots under the thread and back up. Like this, that's one. Make sure it's very secure. 2, yeah, that's enough for me. And I'm gonna cut this off. And now this booklet has a very nice little label, little dangly label here. But again, as I said, you can attach this label in so many different ways. Wow! I made a bunch of journals. 12 to be exact, 1 for each month of the year. It was a lot of work, I admit, but it was so worth it. These are all so beautiful. They're all a little bit different because I used different papers and I had a different order for the journal pages. And once I made the first one that I showed in the tutorial, I just cut all the pieces for the pockets and the base for all the other 11 journals. And I just, yeah, I made a little factory. This was mass making journal day. And I'm so incredibly happy with these. These labels look so good. And now it is time to make a sleeve, so these can be kept together in a beautiful way. Now for the sleeve that holds all these 12 journals, I'm also going to use this 300 grams cardstock. I am going to give you my measurements, but I advise to check the measurements with what your result of the journals is. So first make the journals, then make the sleeve. These are going to be my sides. The measurements will pop up on the screen. For the height, I just took the height of my journals, which is 8 inch in my case, and I added 1/8 of an inch on top, which is about 3 millimeters. That is quite safe. If you think, I can do it a little bit less, the fit will probably be a bit more snug. But if you're confident, you can definitely make it a little bit less. And for the width, I just took the width of my journal, plus I added an extra 1/8 of an inch or 3 millimeters, so my journals won't peek out of the sleeve. And then I also added a tab that is 1/2 an inch wide or 1.3 centimeters. So those are my sides. For the top and the bottom, the longest side is actually the same size as the width of my sides now, because the tab is also calculated. And for the width, I just took all my journals and I laid them next to each other. And I added a little bit more so it won't be too small and there's a little bit of room to add more embellishments inside, etc. And then I added 1/2 an inch on each side, or 1.3 centimeter for the tabs. Now, if you're planning on really filling these up, these pockets with a lot of stuff, then I would add more space to the width, for sure. But you know yourself. And for the back piece, it is just the length, the same length as the size, and the width is actually the same width as the top and bottom part, minus 1 inch that is for the tabs, because this won't have any tabs. And then I also have some extra pieces which are optional but will make your sleeve a lot sturdier. This is actually the back again that I'm going to glue on the inside. And these are the top and the bottom again, but without the tabs. So it looks like this, because this will be a tab and here will be 2 tabs. See? And then I also have some inserts for the sides, which are exactly the same as the first sides, but without the tab, the 1/2 inch tab again. I hope this is clear. These extra pieces I'm going to put away. I'm first going to start with the actual box. So, okay, for these sides, I'm just going to score 1/2 an inch on one of the long sides. Easy. For the top and the bottom, I'm also going to do that, but on 3 sides. Oops, 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 oops. So on the long sides and one time on the short sides, here as well. No worries, I'm going to use this for the bottom. And on the back, of course, doesn't need any scoring. I'm going to fold these lines. And I'm also going to cut a little bit at an angle from these corners. Like this, just a tiny bit from the corner here out. Here as well. Just to make sure that all these corner pieces won't get in each other's way. Same with these tops and bottoms. Okay. Just going to cut this corner. And here, where 2 folding lines meet, you just cut in like this, at the corner turn and cut at an angle again. And this way you're making easy glue tabs. Oh, I forgot this one. If you spotted that, well spotted. And now I'm going to put some double-sided tape, you can also use glue, on all these tabs here. If you use glue, only use the glue right before you're going to glue. With the tape, I can already do that beforehand. Try to put the tape right next to the folding line, not on it. Otherwise your sleeve is going to be sticky. So all my tabs have tape on them, and first I'm going to cut out a little notch here at the sides. This is optional, you don't have to do that. I'm just going to find the center. And you can use any punch you like. I'm just going to use a 1.5 inch punch for this, but you can make them large or small, whatever you fancy. And then I'm going to take my top and I'm going to remove the side backings here. Okay, the piece with the tab is going to be attached to the back. This is also going to be attached to the back, so I'm going to attach these pieces together. And I'm going to line this up right next to that fold. And when I'm really happy, you can stick. You can also, as I said, use glue instead of double-sided tape. Okay, and then the same on the other side. So I'm going to take the other side, also tabs for the back on the same side, line these up, and when I'm happy, down. And I'm also going to attach the bottom. So we have side, top, side, bottom. I'm gonna put it like this, and I'm just again going to attach these together. And just make sure that the back tabs are all at the same side. Okay, and now, so we have this long piece here now, and now we're going to attach this part to that side. And normally when you measure it well, you can just lay it flat like this and glue like this. And we have our sleeve now. And I am going to attach the back to this. So I'm going to remove all the parts here. Well, I'm actually going to first be removing the small parts, and then I can already glue these corners like this. Just make sure that you have straight angles here as well. This. Okay, and then I'm gonna remove these last parts, and I'm going to stick my back on like this. If you'd rather assemble this sleeve in another order, you can definitely do that. You could start with the back and attach the tabs on there, etc. You don't have to follow my order. And now you can go inside and make sure these tabs are really fitting. So if you're happy, you can just decorate your sleeve, put your journals in there. But I'm going to make it a little bit sturdier with my extra pieces. Now, first I'm going to put the back in. And it fits, so I don't need to cut anything off. With the other ones, it might be that you need to cut something off, but that's okay. It's better too large than not too large enough. Now I'm going to glue this in. Yes, I could also have used my glue stick for this. There. Put that in place, beautiful, and immediately your back will feel that twice as sturdy, of course. And I'm also going to do that with the sides. Now the sides, I'm first going to dry fit them again to see if I need to cut something off. Yeah, you see, I will need to cut off like a 1/16 of an inch, you see that? But I'd rather cut them first a bit too large and then cut off a little bit. The other side as well. Yeah, I'm gonna cut off a 1/16 here. Let's see if these are better now. Still a tiny little bit. I'm gonna add a tiny little bit. Perfect, yes. Okay. And because I made these notches, I'm first going to stick this in. I'm not gluing it yet, and then just going to trace this. Same with the other one on the other side. This. I'm going to use the same punch, and I'm just going to cut right outside that line. You won't see the line, it will actually be perfect. So, yes, perfect. I'm going to glue them in. Yeah, I have a glue spread thingy somewhere, but emphasis on somewhere, and I'm not going to search for it right now. Okay, let's glue these in. Immediately this box already feels a lot sturdier, and when the glue is dry it will be even more sturdy. I'm also going to dry fit these. Yeah, these are a little bit too wide, I already see that. I'm gonna take off a tiny sliver, and for the depth I'm also going to take off a tiny sliver. And when you're happy with the dry fit, you can again glue them in. While the glue is drying, I'm going to embellish the sides with some paper. You can also do the back and the top, etc. But for me, that's actually not really necessary. And I have these pieces from a paper, and I'm just going to put them on the sides like this. Since we cut a notch here, I'm also going to do that with these. I'm again going to find the center. Now, you can use the same circle punch to cut out these notches, but I'm actually going to use a bigger circle punch. This is a 2-inch one, so half an inch larger than this one. Like this. Oh, I cut off a little bit too much, but that's okay. Yeah, I shouldn't have gone this deep, but that's okay. There, and that'll fit. I am just going to ink the edges again and glue them on here. And there, my sleeve is ready. It needs a little bit more drying, but it's already safe to fit all my journals in here. And just like previously in the tutorial, I actually made 12 of these. And I'm just going to fit them in here in the right order, of course. And January. Perfect! So, what a great box is this. You can just take out, by the pull, the journal that you want to take with you. You don't have to take everything with you. It is a big job, I admit it, but it's so worth it. I really, really loved making this project, and it's so super useful to journal. I really hope you loved this tutorial, that it gave you some inspiration to start crafting yourself. If you loved the tutorial, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more of us in the future, you can subscribe to our channel. Don't hesitate to share this video if you have friends that might like to watch this tutorial as well. And now I wish you a wonderful day. Bye bye.